Well, folks, we are about 7 minutes out from the top of the order, so we'll ask you to start wrapping up that course walk. We'll be underway here right on the 12:30 mark. And again, this event, the qualifying opportunity for the two-star Grand Prix coming up here this weekend. Top 45 will earn their right to be a part of that feature class. And this two-star qualifier is brought to us by Ethel M. Chocolates. 40 years ago, Forrest Myers Sr., the man who brought the world M&Ms and many other beloved treats, created a delicious expression of chocolate in honor of his mother, Ethel M. Chocolates. Delicious gems ready to be savored. The adventure awaits you as you bite into an explosion of flavor wrapped in a decadent chocolate. So many delicious choices, whether you're rewarding yourself or celebrating someone you love. Ethel M. Chocolates available online at ethelm.com or by phone at 1-800-438-4356. Again, a proud supporter here during our Week 7 CSI two-star classes, of which this is one. And of course, we do have our judging panel in effect here today. Joining us to handle the scoring, our president of the ground jury is with us, of course, Liliana Verb. She is on board along with Mr. Ralph Alfano, Mr. David Disler for scoring, and of course, Mr. Phil Rosan on that panel as well. Anthony D'Ambrosio, along with Andy Christensen, handling course designing duties here this week. The first round route for all 77 starters here, beginning at the top end of the arena over the Mars Oxer, going away from the International Club. That'll be fence number 1, going with the green and blue striped rails toward the Wellington Club side of the arena. Then the turn to the left, and go back the opposite direction over the tropical arched wall, if you will. That'll be fence number 2 before approaching the combination with the mint green and white striped wings and standards. That'll be 3A, the vertical. 1 stride away is 3B, the Oxer. On down to the Bainbridge vertical, this time with solid black plank and rails, and that'll be fence number 4. They'll continue on the right lead there to jump the Martha Waktajada curve vertical number 5 before making a left-hand roll back past the gate, jump away from home over the Lugano Oxer number 6. There's a line of fences, 7 and 8, coming up the diagonal away from home. That's the black and white wing vertical number 7. Vertical and Gold Horse Oxer number 8 before they roll back to number 9, the Adequan vertical with white rails, continuing in the direction toward the Wellington Club and the Central Park area there. The Southern Arches Oxer will be fence number 10, and then the triple combination down the outside line in front of the bank is 11A, B, and C. It's a 2-stride going in until they reach the vertical, 1 stride coming out. Around they go to the Ethel M. Chocolates Oxer number 12 before they make a right-hand turn to jump the solid orange Oxer as fence number 13 and complete the first round of competition. We have a 78-second time allowed. And of course, we've got A.J. Holmes on the back gate there. He'll be sending us that first horse in just about 3 minutes.
Well, a very good afternoon and set to roll into our Ethel M. Chocolates $32,000 FEI two-star Grand Prix qualifier. Is going to feature most of the afternoon as it is a big field. It's over 75 in fact in total. Mario Laurier to start us off with Giniel de Beneville, over the course designed by Anthony D'Ambrosio and Andy Christensen, our course designers here this week as well. And first up is a rider who's ridden at Olympic Games and won the World Cup final, many accolades in that direction. But he is now bringing on the next generation here, and with an 8-year-old here, stallion by Capital d'Argon for Mario. Time allowed of 78 seconds around this course. 13 fences in all, finishing over the orange or tangerine, if we're going to probably be more exact, fence right in the centre of the arena. I'll take you through the course as we go as well. And this is going to be our Pathfinder, so young horse coming through. Out of Nuance de Beneville Mario. Starting over the Mars equestrian fence. Turn back here. Again, it's going to be interesting to see the time here. 30 numbered obstacles, 16 jumping efforts in all. The wall comes up early, as they seem to tend to a lot these days. Don't know whether there's anything specific to that or not, just the way it is. Lugano double coming up at 3A and B. 8 meters 10 through there, and they should come up on 4 strides. A little bit of a bend on the right line. Probably 4 strides down there. That's what I would expect anyway. And then to 5 and a roll back here to the Lugano fence. Lugano are presenting sponsor for the Grand Prix here this week as well. Around here nicely. Little chance to play around with the distance there. Could go 8, could go 9, depending on how they feel about it. 7, I would expect down that line to the golden coloured fence at 8. Again, loop back here at 9. Over a little white skinny at the adequate fence. Southern Arches fence cleared okay at 10. And again, they've got a bit of room to play with here. They can go all the way up to the 10 strides if they want to, or however they want to play with that. Just first part coming down, 11 meters 50, so 2 strides there, get a little bit longer as they get strung out and have the first part. There's 2 verticals on the way out. And then this is the last. Just going to leave them on the 4 faults there. Time was 75.71. Kept on moving pretty efficiently there for Mario Delorier. So the Canadian just finishing on the 4 faults. Time is achievable, as has been proved. And there, good one to put in the bank with the 8-year-old Julien de Benivi. Right, Amy Miller, Gelvinia MB, 10-year-old Dutch-bred mare by Canaan for Amy and the J team as the owners. Get another Olympian coming early on. The Canadian, of course, 2016 was her Olympic turn. And recent Pan Am team silver as well with Truman. Gelvinia MB. Coming through. There's a few riders in here. It's going to be interesting to see with potential next stage big international horses for them. Nicely through the line. 3 planks then to the Martha Jolicoeur fence, which they just take a little bit on the angle to get the turn back to this Lugano, turning in front of the in-gate there. Again, don't want to drift too far. It's going to be interesting to see because Mario Delorier nicely inside the time at 75.71. Was pretty efficient though around the course. Didn't leave too much wasted ground. Roll back here to the skinny. Should be 6 down there. Again, just got to keep moving a little bit forward down there. Gets out to the boards to set up this triple combination. Skips through nicely, just on the 4 for Amy and Gelvinia. And time-wise is going to be a little bit closer there. Might just squeak over it. Yeah, 78.52, so just over the time allowed. 4 jumping 1 time for Amy and Gelvinia MB at 78.52. Time allowed of 78 seconds. So total of 5 for Amy. Kevin Gallagher, I'm Here. Nice and easily named horse in this $32,000 Ethel M Chocolates 2-star Grand Prix qualifier. Irish rider for the Coolmore show jumping team here. I'm Here is the Dutch-bred 11-year mare by Karen Bowl. Coolmore here in ever greater force here, which is great to see. A wonderful addition to the equestrian show jumping world. Of course, they are arguably the leading light in the racing world. And Kevin riding under the banner of that team. It's been along the lines producing a lot of young horses through Young Horse Championships a number of times for him in Lanarkon. And I'm Here getting its first 2-star outing with him here. Again, just depends how much they cut the line from 6 to 7 to where they want to go with that. But again, I think time-wise, they've just got to keep the enough pressure on. Nice roll back here again, keep the balance back to the skinny. Nicely through the 2 verticals, looking very contained and controlled so far. Time-wise should be okay as well, could well give us our first clear. And, oh! Just dropped short on that final fence, 76.30, finishing on just the 4 there for Kevin Gallagher. And I'm here for the Irishman. So 4, 4 and 5. We had 3 actually combinations basically with 1 fence down each. Sophie Mayer, Sentimiento LS Lacia for Sophie. This has been her wonderful long-time partner through to 5-star level. Jumped in some of the World Cup shows, including Madrid last year, over in Europe. Wife of Ben Mayer. And just occasionally Ben borrows Senti for some big classes, but very much back in her court here for this Mexican bred horse, the Lacia name, of course, from Monterrey. And the Romo stud down there that's been behind so many fantastic horses over the years. Again, just got to be prompt from 1 to 2 to not lose time there back to the wall. On the 4, just gets a nice shot down there. Like I say, it's a little bit on an angle, it's not a straight shot down to the planks. Again, gets moving away up to this Lugano fence to get across that at 6. Some of those widths coming to 155. A little bit wider later on into the course, just a little touch at that fence there. Nice roll back. Just a little bounce there. Again, triple combination coming late into the course is going to be a little test of stamina in here. And this is where they just push you back up the arena. You might think you're finished or not, and then there's a long enough run down to this final fence again to keep the concentration, and that's very nicely done. From Sophie, 77.67. And gives us clear round number 1. Sophie Mayer gives the first of the 0 scores with Sentimiento LS Lacia. So Sentient is going to be starting combination into that jump off. Luis Francisco de Azevedo, Colin. And this is a long-established 5-star partnership. So just dropping them down this week to jump in the 2-star on the what now 17-year-old gelding by Colandro for the Santa Cecilia stables. Going to be interested to see where this pair sit time-wise. They're used to riding some of the 5-star tracks as well. Just a little stretch out across that Oxer up there at 8. Still leaves it up though. But that is not. Again, just doesn't quite hold the balance on the turn there back to the skinny. Just going to leave them on the 4, just inside the time, all right, at 76.93 with the time allowed at, 78. And so just on the 4 there for Luis Francisco de Azevedo and Colin. So just keeps them ticking along nicely. I say I'm not sure what the plan is for the next few weeks, whether to return to the 5-star. Bliss Hears of the US with Bridgeside Farms Star Quality Z. 11-year-old gelding by Quality Time. Bliss again bringing a newer combination through in these classes as well. Of course, we long know her association with Antidote de Mars. Now, newer combination for Bliss that's been jumping up in Ocala as well, and over in Sarasota too in preparation heading down here. Former ride of Jérôme Guéry of Belgium. Jérôme actually rode this horse at the Nations Cup show in Spain a few weeks ago, back at the end of last year. Still just a few weeks ago. Bliss just started with this horse into January. Jump round for 2 time faults in Sarasota in a 1:45 the day, again just as they start to build their partnership. Just pushes forward into that front bar on the 8. Like I say, it's going to be a building time for this pairing. Oh, and last fence as well. So leaves them on a total of 12, 76.92 for that Bliss Hears. US rider from Las Vegas, Nevada, hailing from there originally with that Quality Star Z. Gabriela Reuter of Chile, Lumiere Horses, Castle OJ, the Irish bred gelding by Sligo Candy Boy for Gabriela. Has had some very good finishes into these 2 stars in Wellington before now. Seen those mainly with Mahari's Rock, where the horse that she rode actually to bronze in the South American Games in 2 seasons ago now. Not that long ago, as we're only in February 2024. Finished nicely in the 4-star here a couple of weeks ago as well. Just a little more of an effort to go over the Lugano fence. And just down there, should come up on the 7 okay. We'll keep control. Now just get the engine running a little bit more down to the southern arches. Holds them off the verticals okay, just on the 4 at the moment. And will remain at that. Time is looking to put a reasonable pressure on, 75.76. It's time allowed of 78 seconds, so it looks nicely achievable if they keep moving. If you're dawdling, you're not going to get there, but it is nice and efficient. But it is 1 down, finishing on 4 there for Gabriela Reuter of Chile and Castle OJ, so into 3rd for Gabby at this stage. 1 clear, Sophie Meyer, Sentimiento Eles La Cia. Adam Prudent, La Balou. For the plain bay sales, the home family setup of the Prudence. Parents Henri and Katie. So we saw Adam out a few years ago with Balotinu, which then went on with, of course, with Laura Crouch. 12-year-old gelding by Luchador for Adam Prudent this time. Just giving themselves space back to the wall. The wall solid enough. There's again the little sunset underneath as well, not taking too much of a look at that. Down through the turquoise double. And that just seems to be coming up nicely for most so far, just down on the 4 strides to the planks. Shifts a little bit in the saddle as they make the turn back. Kept that pretty efficient there as well if they keep going to that Logano. Fence 6, like I say, 155 to get across there. Last fence is widest at 160. Oh, comes to move up down there. There was some hesitation and it didn't work out. So team will just put that one back together. See what the plan is from Adam, or whether he's going to take something else. Just having a little, whether he wants to take on the water tray or not. He's not. He's going to jump a different water tray, the one they've already been down to there at fence 5. Popped that without any trouble at all, but he's just going to pack that one away, I'm afraid, because it just doesn't quite work out. So deciding to retire with Labaloo, another one that jumped up in Sarasota in the last few weeks in preparation. Adam, who was jumping over in Europe last year. Makes a return to the US scene. Peter Lutz now, Catriona. Really nice looking Dutch bred mare. 9-year-old by Canaan for Loftus Stuteri for Peter. Started pretty consistently so far this season. Actually jumped through the 3 stars and had several top 10s in there. He's also got Halerno out at the moment for similarly good finishes, but this pairing together jumped through the 4 stars and 3 stars so far this season through January and early Feb, just with one down and clears. That's it. Pretty tidy all the way through, and in fact that's been their rounds ever since pretty well day 1, which is really interesting to see. Nothing worse than 4 faults. Also was previously with Conan Wright in Ireland, going back, and with Peter through last year. Blown down there, the clock then restarts by the judges at the appropriate time. Peter's such a lovely producer of horses. He has been over the years, including Robin de Ponthoual, on to be a very good finisher in World Cups and into Spruce Meadows. In fact, won a World Cup in Las Vegas, won a 5-star Grand Prix actually at Calgary in their summer series. Now clear time-wise is going to be over, but again that might well be going back to the judges yet. We'll see what they do with that. I'm going to put that to one side for a minute and say it's clear at this stage. 83.29. They've got 6 time on the board, but obviously it was interrupted time, so that will be a discussion for the grand jury. That will be taking place at the moment. Yeah, so they're going to give Peter the clear there. They'll have had also stopwatch times on that as well to be able to compare that. So judges will give a time, or they will make it the time allowed of 78. Either way, it's going to come out as a clear there for Peter Lutz. Let's put it 78 seconds, so that's what they've done. US rider Tanner Korotkin and Castlewood Farm and Sandalwood Farms Ideal Switchback Gelding by Carento. So it gives us clear round number 2 there. Peter Lutz alongside Sophie Mayer in this Ethel M Chocolates 2-star Grand Prix qualifier. Start. Just keep you moving at a nice pace so far. On the 12-year-old by Carento. Get there down on the 7, which is what I'm going to expect from pretty well everyone down there. Just don't lose too much time on the turn back here. That was nicely done. Just takes an early pull just to make sure they get the right shot up to 10. Little skip in there in the middle part and just drops the rail. Another one going to be on the 4, going to run a little bit close to time. May just be a fraction over. Yes, he is 78.14, so just one over the time there. One fence down, total of 5 for Tanner Korotkin, and Ideal will put them in 7th place at the moment with the 2 clears on the board. Few on the 4. Only Bliss here's with the score outside of that. But the rest of the field on 4 faults so far. Mario Delorier sitting in 3rd, Gabriel Reuter in 4th place, and Kevin Gallagher and I'm here sitting there in 5th place at the moment. Ibrahim Barazi representing Jordan. Khan is the stallion by Kanan. 12-year-old for the Jordanian rider. For him, he's competed sparingly through the FEI classes with this horse, some of them towards the tail end of last year. Former ride of Sofia Westborg of Sweden. She was riding the horse through much of last season. Actually a horse that was with Nicola Philipparts for a good while through the horse's production through in 2022. She was produced with the Philipparts team, both with Nicola and Thibaut. Just has to get the concentration back on the turn. And then just gets underneath that vertical, unfortunately. Just coming home on the 4 faults. Gonna run close to time, I would imagine. Should just be enough, but probably about 76. 77.10, finish on just the 4 there for Ibrahim Barazi of Jordan and Khan. So another one just on the 1 fence down. There's lots of interesting challenges out there, but they're being well spread around. It's just 1 pole here, 1 pole there. Nothing of any big scores, which is great to see. Some nice designing from the team there. Mansley and Andy. Francisco Goyaga-Molet and Icarus for the rider who represents Spade, rides for the Ashton Farms for the Smith family. very good youth career. And not so keen to kick off at the first. Icarus, unfortunately, not wanting to fly. Icarus experienced enough now at 16 years of age. Francisco follows a long family history in the sport. They finished top 10 at the recent Grand Prix in Sarasota at the end of January. So a little bit unusual at the first fence there. Jumped back here at Wellington in early January of this season. Had some of their best results throughout the summer in Traverse City in July and into September. In fact, second in the Southern Arches Grand Prix there in early September. Now very much in the groove. Woken up nicely down the double of verticals. Well, the double coming out of the triple combination. And just curve 9 to the last. It's going to be 4 jumping, of course, with that refusal at the first means time on the board as well. So it's 20 for time, 97.20 for Francisco Goyega Molet and Icarus for the US-based Spanish rider. Unfortunately, I mean, didn't touch a pole if you're really going to be exact about it. But Nicky Galligan, VDL Nakita. The Irishman riding for the Santa Rosa group. Based out in California, comes over here for the season as is. Before that, heading up north for their base of the Guardian stables. Actually, this is a pair that was second in the 2-star Grand Prix here in early Feb as well. So got some good credentials. Just got, if I remember, just got pipped to the post of the final stages there for Nicky. Just trying to hold again for that line. Again, make sure they don't get too far forward, getting down on the 7. But unfortunately falls into the skinny vertical. Going to be up to 8 as they head for home. Jumped some good rounds so far this season, as I say, finished second in the Grand Prix just a few weeks ago, just not quite emulating that today, 74.89. And on 2 down for 8 faults for VDL Nakita and Nicky Galligan of Ireland. Anna Dryden, Christian's Corrado for the Double Meadows Farm. Cashback gelding by Christian, 25. 10-year-old now for Anna. Seen her the last few weeks with Gypsy Love and with Knight. This is a horse that was with Owen McMahon, actually rides for the Beerbam stables. She might have been doing some riding for them as well, where this might come into play. And Anna double clear with this in the 2-star just a few weeks ago, and just the 4 faults was early February. This horse was ridden by Ludger Beerbaum at one point, back to the middle of last year on a few occasions. Matthias Boer of Germany, previous to that. And unfortunately, well and truly, having fence 8 down, just rolls the pole on there. Thanks to the team for swiftly getting that out of the way. So he only had a couple of rounds together. Nice looking horse, lovely jump. Comes through there, nice and relaxed. Just going to fish with a little bit of time and finish well, but again, I think they're looking further down the line, and it's 81.87, not quite to beat today. 4 jumping 4 time for Anna Dryden and Christian's Corrado. Leaves us at the 2 clears so far, with Sophie Mayer and Peter Lutz as the 2 clears to date. Brian Mowbray now. Stevie Macken's Damithieu de Moulerie. French bred mare by Milord Cartago is the 11-year-old for Brian. Brian well established in previous years as despite his youthful age. He's what, 22 now? We're on a winning team in Aachen. World Championships before now. Several World Cup wins. And now just building a new string of horses. That it's a horse that he's been jumping in the U25s as well for Stevie Macken. I was with Johanna Ekberg before that of Sweden. He's at the top partner these days being MTM Vive la Rêve, that has been for a long time. Saw them placed in the World Cups still last season. Sits up on the turn to make sure they don't fall into that skinny. That was done nicely. Again, keep the balance. Keep a nice tidy shape. Just start to get a little forward through the second part there, but just touches the way on out of the triple combination. A little bit of encouragement out the corner. It just wasn't enough, unfortunately. You just see that was starting to get a little bit too far away. And so finishing on the 4 at 75.26, just 1 down for Brian Mowbray and Damithieu de Moulerie. Looks a very nice horse though. Looking forward to seeing more with them this season. Like I said, they've only jumped a couple of rounds together so far. Right, just getting used to the buttons. Blythe Caroli of the US, the BK Equestrians Kingston is the stallion by Extace. And it's the 9-year-old for Blythe. Two clears on the board so far. Placed nicely in the 3 stars as well so far with Theo as well. This 9-year-old stallion next up. She's ridden just since early this year into FEI. Was ridden last year by Sissy Ethel of Norway. Jumping just through the 2 stars so far into this season. Again, just bar one blip in the 2-star Grand Prix, but the qualifiers have tended to be 4 faults or just a time fault. Just the 1 2-star Grand Prix together so far. Just on the 4 again, coming to the golden horses' heads. And just doesn't unfortunately get the back end out of the way as they come through that line. Just again gets a little forward through it to make some space. And take us on to Vasco Flores now of Puerto Rico. This Anton Morano's De Napo is the 10-year-old gelding by De Capo. Vasco competing at the Pan Am Games last year as well. Great to see him as part of that championship. Moves up nicely down there, puts a big jump in over the Oxer. 155 width. Well, that was Cosmoda who was riding at the Pan Ams. Now actually this horse finished top 7th place in the 150 Classic. That was at the 4-star, so it's jumped bigger, jumped double clear here back at the end of January. Again, partnership has gone on since sort of second 2/3 of last year, so from around about June, July last season, and will come together quite nicely. Vasco Flores there, and puts him on a time of 76.29. Thumbs up. And so this Alex Granato. Alex, the US rider with El Diablo de Nor for the Bright Lights group. Swedish Pale Gelding by Durrant is the 10-year-old for Alex, World Cup winner before now as well. Alex again been building the next generation of horses through. Good over the wall. Alex again just kicking off with this horse this year. Horse that was ridden and produced over in Denmark. Gives himself a little space back to that Lugano Oxer at 6. Just stretches a little on the 7 as they get down that line. It should come up okay. It just trails a toe on the first part, but it stays. Time-wise, should be just about enough. Time allowed of 78. It's not going to be giving a lot of space. It's just going to be a little bit too close, actually. 78.92, just going to leave them the one time. Just a little steady through the final stages there. Still jumped very nicely, though, Alex Granato and El Diablo de Nor. But I'm afraid the one time fault means they go no further northward than the first round. It's the clears that will remain in the game. Vasco Flores, Sophie Mayer and Peter Lutz to date. Zaina Rizvi now, Exit of Ice Z. Zaina due to be on the US squad next week as well, here as part of Nations Cup week.
This is a 16-year-old Xavier Sademeyer by Yellows BBL affiliate, entry owned by Misty Clark and North Lund, a young up-and-coming rider who's been well in the hunt for us here throughout the course of our international events this season, and also has been named to be part of the upcoming Nations Cup team here in Arlington.
Now for the young rider medalist, jumped onto some of the Nations Cups in Europe at the tail end of last year as well. That was the Spanish and Portuguese tour. Exit of Ice Z, well, plenty of experience with this horse. Former rider of the Gulliksen family of Norway. Pairing though here have been together since tail end of 2022, so basically had just over a year in partnership. Also just on the 4. So just keeping things ticking over. And just going to lead them on the 4 fault 78.91, 13th position. Again, 4 faulters I would expect should be qualifying for Sunday's Grand Prix as well here at 2 for the Ethel M Chocolates Grand Prix. But just, in fact, 1 time fault to add there at 78.91 for Zayna, so total of 5. Total of 75 in this though, and I think 45 go through to the Grand Prix on Sunday, so there is a good gap there. There's what, 30 that won't go through. Tom Watchman, fingers crossed for the young Irishman with Blackshaw for the WOW Trading. That's the Watchman and O'Connor partnership. Keane O'Connor and Watchman Coolmore team. Had a terrific week up in O'Connor in the last few weeks as well. Headed up there last week, was racing between the 2 events. Last year, of course, was junior gold in the Europeans. Still only 18 years of age. No, 19. Now turns 19 on the 17th of Feb. Just trying to balance up on the turn and just got there a fraction earlier than he wanted by the looks of it. A little hard to see, but Blackshaw, 9 years of age, by the Olympic and World Championship medalist Zorocco Blue. Just going to lead them on the 4 faults. It's going to be inside the time at 77.69. 4 there for Tom Watchman. And Blackshaw goes into 11th place so far. Still holding it 3 clears. Peter Lutz, Sophie Mayer and Vasco Flores. Juan Manuel Gallego and Niagara DVZ for the Colombian rider. Just bending out the line slightly to the right, just gives them a little fraction more space coming back on the roll back to the Lugano. For the distance down there. And final push of the last couple of strides. Nice and controlled at the moment for Juan Manuel. One from home should just be okay for time. Going to be about 76, 77, 77.58, and it is going to be the 4th clear round then for Juan Manuel Gallego and the Colombian rider with Niagara Dive Z. They don't fall out of the equation. They remain in as one of the 4 clears so far in this Ethel M Chocolates 2-star Grand Prix qualifier. Each not a million miles inside that time, but just enough. Lena Haas now, Santana, the rider hailing from California, the mare by Centadel. A really good start to the season as well. And some very good results over on the field. And into the U25 as well. Trains with Andrew Wells and team. Elena still just what, 20? This was actually the horse she rode at the Young Rider Championships last year. Again, nice and smooth and controlled. Just keeps moving down that line. Height's not an issue, they just step through that triple combination. Just keep an eye on the clock, that's my only thing. And it's going to be one time fault, 78.41. Very nice round for Elena Haas, and Santana gets a pat, does the job, doesn't touch a fence. It's going to be in the driver's seat that's the issue, so just unfortunately just a fraction steadier somewhere, but not by much. Finishing on the one time fault there for Elena Haas and Santana, but they keep their powder dry ready for the Grand Prix on Sunday. Haley Royce, Barney Blue 3. Anna Varian Gelding by Baluda Roy. This 11-year-old for the Royce Sport Horses. Barney Blue she actually rode at the Young Rider Championships too last year for the 19-year-old rider. Barney Blue by Baluda Roy. Goes back to the line of Balobé de Rouet, of course. Little look at the first. Only jumping around the 2-star Grand Prix just a few weeks ago here for just the 4 faults. Down nicely on the 7 for Haley. They've all basically got to do that. It's just a question of how they do it. Again, doesn't cut the corner too tight, just gives herself nice space to that skinny. But again, you can't afford to go too far out. This triple combination riding well so far. Time-wise, just be careful. Oh, well, last fence will put pay to it anyway, and they did need a little care on the clock. 78.13, just finishing with one time fault to add the last fence going down. Total of 5 for Haley Royce this time, with Barney Blue 3. takes them from being in the jump off to down into 14th place, but would have been a time fault. On the board, two that have done that so far, Elena Haas and Alex Granato, as they sit in 5th and 6th at the moment. Katie Dynan, Grant Road Partners out of the blue SCF, is due to come into view. A little bit of breeze around now. It's a little bit of breeze for today. Still a warm, lovely day. A grey that several will recognise, that was with Shane Sweetnam, jumping very nicely last year. And on this Belgian-bred 10-year-old mare by Verdi. Verdi, that was the prolific winning horse of Michael van der Vleuten of the Netherlands. Katie winning in Washington last year in the World Cup there with Brego R&B, but with this new addition to the string. Again, haven't had that many rounds underneath their belt so far. I think actually this pair, just having jumped through national stuff together so far, what I've seen them in the last few weeks, are coming to their first 2-star together. So they jump further through with Shane, but new partnership, and just it's a little overexcited down that line, just runs on into that first part of the double. Drifting a little on the turn. Now just nice and balanced as they are. And looking good down there, nice and confident run. As I say, it'll just be getting used to how this horse goes for her. Looks a very nice partnered pair. Just props. I'm just going to just hook that last fence away with them as well. 4 jumping 2 times, 79.20. But again, I don't think going to be too worried about how the time was going to work out there. 8 faults for Katie Dynan out of the blue SCF as they build a partnership. It's about getting some mileage in there for them now. Nick De La Joyo and Divinetta Girl. French-bred mare by Calvaro for the Wembley Farms for Nick. Last year was jumping at the World Cup finals with Cornets Cambridge. Nick, who was out with an injury himself for a long period of last year, now back in the saddle. This is another horse that he hasn't jumped yet through FEI. Just turn back here, nice and balanced off the corner, just keeping enough pace to get across 6 without getting too thrown out far. And this is where it all links up then to a little bit more of a forward run in the last couple of strides to make the 7 down the line. Nice and balanced round the corner. A very nice round so far for a first spin of them into the international classes. So there will have been some national work before this, and time-wise, Like I say, it's going to be close, 77.77, but it's not going to matter because the last fence comes down, so it puts them on a score of 4 there for Nick De La Joyo and Divanetta Girl, so they are going to finish on the 4 faults. Thomas Joffre Cadora, well-established partnership Grand Prix winners in Traverse City before now. Cadora now the 14-year-old mare by Carantino for Thomas Joffre of Argentina. Now this a more established partnership, but again a little mix in here of those that have been together a while, some new partners, like I say, like that of Nick De La Joyo and Katie Dynan. That should cope with this well. Nothing's ever a guarantee, just had to make a little reach on the way out of that double there at 3. Again, they just get them a little bit across to the right to make a nice smooth turn back to the Lugano. Balance turn back to the white, adequate skinny. So far, so good. Again, just wonder about time. Think they should just about be okay. Yeah, they should be. So they've been there and done this all right before. Kind of a little bit close to it. And it's going to be 77.56. I said they'd run close. It is there the 5th clear round. Thomas Joffre of Argentina and Cadora just putting things together there to give us the next the clear rounds. 5th clear round at this stage. So on the 5 clears so far, alongside those of Juan Manuel Gallego, Vasco Flores, Sophie Mayer gave us the first, Peter Lutz gave us the second of the clears as part of this Ethel M Chocolates 2-star Grand Prix qualifier here this afternoon. A little bit of breeze on what is a lovely warm day. Feeling almost beach-like out here on the surface. Five clears to date, and at the moment 27 gone. That's Lucas Porter walking in. I was expecting Sabine Cooper, but Lucas Porter walking in now. Sleepy P Ranches Kentucky N, Dutch bred gelding by Carrera VDL. Bases here and in the Netherlands for the Porter family, both he and brother Wilton. Kentucky second in a similar class to this in the 2-star Grand Prix qualifiers already this season. That was at the end of January. Jumped out on the Mexican tour of shows in the fall of 2023. Kentucky, 9 years of age. So again, just coming to that prime age, just say wait. Yeah, and didn't. More controlled shot at the Southern Arches fence. Step through the triple combination without too much trouble. And so going to come home just with a one fence down the end. 75-1-2 will put them in 8th place so far for Lucas Porter and Kentucky N. 4 faults coming in that line to 7 and 8. And Holchers Jr. Good morning, B. It was a good week for him last week when he won the Cast Grand Prix. Last Saturday, as it was, in the end. For the young riders coming through. Good morning, B. Gelding by El Dorado. And the 13-year-old for Good Einhaus of here in Wellington.
Silver medalist leading off the Africa during week 4 of the tour to be a part of that silver medal effort. And last week celebrated his first major international Grand Prix.
Samansky on the back of that success, so he's a past medalist in juniors. Grand old age of 18, about to turn 19 on the 3rd of March. So what's that, just around 10 days' time? One last week with Chanyon. Good morning, B. He's already jumped in the 3-star classes here in January. Former ride of Vladimir Tuganov. Going back a little while. Start off with René Table, who actually trains Ansgar. He's been riding since 2022, actually, over in Europe. Nicely to the Southern Arches. Oxer again, not looking rushed. Nice and balanced. He's sitting on the 4 at the moment, regardless. Just on the 4. Should just squeak inside the time, all right. 75.70, yep, that won't be an issue. Ansgar Holters Jr. and Good Morning B finishing on just on 4 and into 10th place so far. Long list of those on 4, in fact, takes us down to around about 21st position. 5 on a clear, so just the odd rail here and there. Good start back into the arena this week for Georgina Bloomberg and Talara Colmine. Took a break after becoming a mum for the 2nd time. Gotham Enterprises Australian-bred stallion by Coleman. Now 14 years of age. Georgina, past Grand Prix winner here in Wellington. Swiftly getting herself back in the game here in Wellington. Time-wise, this pair have had plenty of experience even through to 5-star level, so they should be on the clock all right here, I would hope. Travels down there to get the 7. This says wait. Still looking good. Son Jasper's been out storming it in the back rings as well. Now time might be the only issue here. Just needs to get a little bit of a move. It's not going to make the time. Overall though, it's going to be the last fence as well regardless, so it makes it academic, I'm afraid. For jumping 3 time, 80.21, but overall not too much wrong with that one for Georgina Bloomberg and Talara Colmine as they make their return into the international classes. No, she's competitive. It'll be a little bit of a frustration, but overall good round. Just that last fence catching up with them for Georgina. Sabine Cooper moved down from was due to go a little bit earlier on. Nazarene van der Exelhove. With this mare by Emerald, the 11-year-old for Sabine. Emerald, that was the leading stallion ridden by Harry Smolders when he was up there as well, number 1. He's still well up there in the world's top 10. Jumping in the World Cup in Toronto with this horse last year, and at Lexington as well as part of the indoor circuit. Already on the 4. Now make it 8. Gets wider here to get things back together. No point in chasing the clock now, just give themselves space. And same there, getting right to the bottom boards. Just gets easy then across the 150 spread. And there's obviously going to be time to add there. It's 12 jumping, 10 for time, 87.98 for Sabine Cooper this time with Nazarene van der Exelhove. Total of 22 overall. Lovely warm afternoon here in Florida. 5 clears so far. Vasco Flores, Thomas Joffre, Juan Manuel Gallego, Sophie Mayer, who gave herself first, and Peter Lutz, who gave us the second. Richie Maloney now, the Equanimity LLC's Sherlock, 46th bay by Stolzenberg, is the 11-year-old for Richie. For the Irish team rider. Big winner here in Wellington before now, American Gold Cup winner. Again, building up a next group of horses for him, really. Actually, a horse he's had since 2022 for a little while now, bringing through. Started out in Italy, jumping their first FEI classes. Took a little break after California in December, out at the end of January in Sarasota. Jumped several clears up there. Just shaking up around the corner there, just makes up a little bit of time on the turn back. Came steadily down the line for the 9 to the 7. They shake things up as they move away. They have got an eye on the clock, because they're not too careful. They would have been really struggling. I think they're still going to be a little bit close, but might just be enough. There we go, 77.89, and Richie was aware of that, and gives us the 6th clear round so far, with Rich Maloney of Ireland joining the group. But again, both on the corners there, just give it a little shake up in terms of chasing the clock. Night Star VD is the 11-year-old mare for Eva Rosa de Silva Fio for Alexandra Gandea. Star VD, top of a class already so far this season on the Thursdays as part of the 3-star weeks. It's actually been jumping very nicely, jumped just for 4 faults in the classics in the 3-star week as well, those up to 150. Just the 4 faults in the Grand Prix qualifier for the 2-star back at the end of January. Quite see there, but obviously pretty positively into the top bar. Just drifts off the fence down that line as well. Again, if you just start to get a little forward there, that's going to catch you. And again, if they're starting to think about the clock, this is not going to have a problem with the clock. They've certainly kept moving. Time is their friend, if you like. They will certainly get around quickly, 71.22, but unfortunately created a foe in the poles. 12, 3 down for Eva Rosa de Silva Fio and Night Star VD. And he rarely has trouble with the clock as well is Laura Chapeau now. Laura Mary Chapeau's Shandon Blue. So now a 19-year-old gelding by Chaco Blue that's been a prolific winner here in Wellington before now. Shandon Blue, who's saved some of the best for down here, and in fact basically this exact class last year won this one, Grand Prix 2-star qualifier, and went on to the Grand Prix, finishing into March top 5s there, actually second in the Grand Prix qualifier again in the latter part of March. Again, this sort of replica class there. Nicely along, just stands off a little that last vertical. It's wider here, but should have the time to be able to do that, and it keeps chasing up the last, and so they're going to get there okay at 77.57. Not a lot of space in the end. Laura Chapeau chasing the clock with Shandon Blue. Gives us the next to clear rounds, and that takes us up to 7 at the moment. Julie Wells, My Boy Bill. The Swambo partners, gelded by Grondino. Here's the 9-year-old. Julie, who rides with the Laura Crouch, Nick Skelton squad, has been a producer of young horses with them for a long time as well. Just gets them a little more stretched out. Nice shot there at the Oxer. Julie again getting out to the boards, but getting tidy in the route back. Just keeping in a nice enough economical line that should leave her okay for time. Yeah, just moves in a little bit up to that Ethel Oxer. Nose is just getting a little bit tighter, but should be okay. And it's, yeah, or not, or is, it is. 77.14, there we go. And the computer system kicks in. There's the time, 77.14. Julie Wells and My Boy Bill. So that will give us clear round number 8. Just well timed there from Julie to put them as the 8th clear round of our list so far. Richard Neal now of the US. Ketamako LS. Leslie Howard down on the floor helping this team along. And the gelding by Caruso LS La Cia. Ketamako LS now 13 years of age. It's been a well-established partner through a long list of shows and a good amount of time now. Just finished in the 4 in the qualifier back at the start of the month. Just sitting on the 4 at the moment. Again, for a number of those looking to qualify here, keeping a speedy 4 on the board is going to be important too. Richard just keeping enough pressure on, should be fine for the time allowed. Again, it's a question of leaving the last up and putting themselves in a good position. 76.14, 16th at the moment for Chanel and Ketamako LS, finishing on just the 4. Long way to go yet, but I would take a hazard that is going to probably be okay and into round Sunday's big competition. Second stage of this. Vanessa Hood, leading international rider last week. Vanessa with the Take 2 LLC of Wellington's FBW Graphics by Graph Rhapsody. Vanessa Hood, who's had a good run on through the major league shows, has made her return to top flight jumping as well. Jumped a number of the 5 stars last season. Finished top 6 in the Grand Prix last week as well with Cascoretto. FBW graphics. New one for her into the FEI classes. Nicely so far, just might struggle with time though. Let's say if this is a first appearance, they're not going to worry about that too much. They're not going to make the time, that's for sure. But as an overall good round, as a good start for them, that is nicely done. It's going to leave them on time. It's going to be 4 time at 81.64. Just time faults there for Vanessa Hood, but drops to 22nd with the FBW graphic. Taylor Lands and Falco the 5th, Dutch bred gelding. Now 14 by Bastique for the Pine Tree Farms. Now Taylor with this horse that finished 2nd, and 145s in the 2-star in the early part of this month. Has also been going very good well on a horse called Get Go. Placed both here in Wellington and in Sarasota. This is a pair that won actually in the 2-star classes here, going back to 2019. Before everything's were a little bit different. And so, let's say, finished 2nd here back in the early part of Feb. Haven't done a lot of FEI classes together over the years, just a little bit each season, whether it's try-on here in Wellington, or a little bit up in Spruce Meadows. That's going back a few years now. Oh, elbows going. They were looking there that there was going to be some work to be done to get across that oxer. Going to leave them on 8 at 74.83. Ran inside the time. A couple of early fences for them, but recovers for Taylor Lange and Falco the 5th, still holding at the 8 clears so far in this class. Winner already this week, Heather Caristo Williams, winner last season too, with Celtic Hero BZ for Heather. Owned by parents Mr. and Mrs. Ralph Caristo, Holly and Ralph. Nicely with Marciano MVF's 2 so far. Celtic Hero been jumping between here and Sarasota over the last few weeks. She went over to Europe last season. One nice class in Dinard in France. Also competing out in Deauville, Nations Cup show there. Two-star Grand Prix winners here previously back in 2022. Here's another chance here this week. One against some of the similar players that they've got this week as well. And she's got a chance here too, going clear there for Heather Caristo-Williams at 75.57. And so Celtic Hero BZ will advance to the jump-off as well. Taking us up to 9 clears to date. And takes us up to just well, a little over, I think, the halfway stage of this Ethel M Chocolates two-star Grand Prix qualifier. Reminder of the clears so far. Sophie Mayer gave us the first with Sentimiento a la Cia, and then it was Peter Lutz after that with Catriona, Vasco Flores de Napo, Juan Manuel Gallego and Niagara. Fifth clear came from Thomas Joffre and Cadora, Richie Maloney and Sherlock, Laura Chapeau, Shandon Blue, Julie Wells, My Boy Blue, and then Heather Caristo-Williams as our most recent, and our most recent to leave the ring as well with Celtic Hero BZ. There's Father Ralph about to make his way down the steps there as well by the looks of it. Still keeping everybody in order. He's been out judging in some of the outside rings as well as his training hat on still. And in come the trucks, and we'll be back in a few minutes' time.
just about to recommence here at the International Arena as we are moving right along with our two-star Grand Prix qualifier. The top 45 have a chance to advance to this weekend's main event in the two-star series. And as of right now, we've got 9 entries qualified to come back for a jump off today. Still quite a few more to go in round 1 before we get to that jump off.
Well, welcome back as we go into the second half of this Ethel M Chocolates two-star Grand Prix qualifier this afternoon. Just a reminder, if you're just joining us, 9 clears at the moment, and the most recent with Heather Caristo Williams and Celtic Hero BZ. Eilish Kniff now of the US, and Laura Sexton's Olivia SCF. A few reminders for you, again, if you're just coming into the game, it is 78 seconds time allowed around this course, designed by Andy D'Ambrosio and Andy Christensen teaming up this week. $32,000 Ethel M Chocolates 2-star, thanks to Ethel M Chocolates and the Mars family once again for their continued support through Mars Equestrian. Wonderful supporters of equestrian sport globally. And Olivia SCF is now the Belgian-bred mare by Cardento for Eilish, based out of South Salem, New York. She rode at the World Cup finals last year with Vivaldi de Thiel, and now with Olivia the SCF for the Spy Coast Farm breeding operation in Lexington. And again, not too much mileage for this pair in terms of FEI shows so far. A little bit this year through the 2-stars, jumped to the 2-star at the Hampton Classic last season as well. Just gets wide there. Now gathers up the rein, just a little pace on this, costing them a rail so far. Nicely to the skinny, just keeps a little stretch down to the Southern Arches fence. Should be coming on 6 strides into there, into the triple combination. It's just coming up nicely for them, the double of verticals. And to the last. So finish on a score of 4. Should be inside the time there. There we go, 75.57. Ticks into place for Eilish Kniff and Olivia SCF, just leaving on the 4 faults 14th position. That's a top 45, I think it is, that go through to the Grand Prix here on Sunday. Luis Pedro Birben and his own and Miguel Medero's Chaco Bumpy, the mare by Chaco Blue, 14 years of age now. We've seen in many of the big classes here in Wellington before now. World Championship rider back in 2018 with Caillou on that occasion. Chaco Bumpy having jumped a couple of the 2-stars so far already this season. Just been picking up the 4 faults on the way at the moment. It's left them a little bit off the money, but getting close to those magic numbers and the dollar signs. Been placed in 5-star Grand Prix before now as well, notably in Saugerties. Just gets down the air. They're looking for the 7 there. Just had to just stretch out over that last fence. Just travelling forward into that triple combination. Flicks the front bar. Again, fast enough for, should leave them okay for Sunday. Time of 76.25 puts them in 19th place for Luis Pedro Birben and Chaco Bumpy this time, so they'll finish on 1 down for them. It's on to Ella Kraut now. US rider with her own Nakia. Dutch bred's 11-year-old mare by Action Breaker. And they're just 19 years of age. Jumped Nakia in the Young Junior Championships, the Youth Championships back in 2022. On the U25 list at the moment, was part of the team competition a few weeks ago. Young riders in 2022. Last year is when she started to do the U25s and a few of the two-star series in the likes of Calgary and Caledon. Patient there, almost a little further off that oxen than they maybe wanted, but cleanly across. Unfortunately too tight up to the Ethel M fence, and going to be a little over the time, 78.43, but Ella Kraut and Nakia just keep steadily moving up the ranks. Total of 5 this time, just that one fence down. I think it was 2 fences down actually for Ella and Nakia. Juan Ortiz, Catch the Dark. Now, won the Pan Am rider for Venezuela. Blue trims Catch the Dark Z, stallion by Kotoki. Catch the Dark was the horse he rode actually in Santiago at the Pan Am Games last time around. He went to the Pan Ams too in 2019, World Championships in 2018. Actually, this horse's first international outing since the championships back in November. Former ride of Lauren Fisher until mid-part of last year. Now, just time might be the only thought here. They might just be, well, they will be over the time. It's going to be a nice round put together though. It's a good return to competition, 79.62. Just on 2 time there for Juan Ortiz and Catch the Dark Z. So I was more concerned on just getting a nice round underneath them. And we'll put them into 12th place so far, just on the 2. Catherine Tyree Flores, as she is now. She and Vasco Flores getting married last year. Vasco Flores already into the jump off, so looking to have wife join him. So Cat Tyree Flores with Pecure Larine, Westphalia mare by Los Angeles as the 9-year-old. Certainly got jump over the wall. The fence is not looking too much of an issue at the moment. Again, this horse's first outing with Cat into the FEI classes. Just keep them nice and balanced on the turn. Couple of strides out, then just press the go buttons. And just get straight. Time is going to be very close. In fact, it's going to be so close it's not going to happen, but it is a very nice round for them. It's a nice horse to watch. Looking forward to seeing more of that combination together. Procure Larine and Cat Tyree Flores at 79.62 means 2 time faults on the board for the US rider. So 2 time for Cat Tyree as we go on to Francesca Bolfo. Francesca with Jadalko, the Belgian-bred gelding by Nabab Dorev now. And Francesca taking us up to, what are we, 45th out of 75 in total. Jadalko top 3 in the Grand Prix in Traverse City back in June of last year. And the pairing that went very well in previous years. Not done too much in the last couple of years in the lead into last year, where they really sort of came back into their own again, competing in FEI classes. Just props nicely through the triple combination, just on the 4 for them. And sees them with 1 down, just inside the time at 77.51. On 4 for Francesca Bolfo, and Jadalko takes them to 25th place. 9 clears, 4 combinations on time faults, so making up 10th through to 12th. Elena Haas on the 1 time, Alex Granato 1 time, 2 time for Cat Tyree Flores, and Juan Ortiz on the 2 time as well. Kyle Tim, Atomica de Sequoia Z for the Canadian for the Rain family. Mare by Arezzo VDL is the 10-year-old for Kyle Tim, Canadian Nations Cup rider. He's competing into the 5-star classes a couple of weeks ago here as well. Grew up not too far away from Spruce Meadows over in Calgary. A new horse for him into the FEI classes as well. Again, that's where this 2-star can be an interesting mix between the established and the upcoming. Nicely set up down that line. Get space, get an eye on that skinny on the rollback. You can't quite see it, but it's a skinny just set of 3 poles there. Just keeping nicely moving around here. Should be okay for time. Yeah, he's not going to drift too far there either. Kyle Tim just keeping a nice forward pace on this round, and so that should get the job done at 76.86. And for the Canadian, they are into the jump-off, giving us number 10. Atomica de Sequoia Z for Kyle Tim, making a good debut into the FEI classes here in Wellington. Clear round number 10 of the list. Nikki Walker, Panther JVH, winner in this arena already in the two-star Grand Prix. Now, Nikki getting more experience with this Belgian-bred 9-year-old stallion by Le Blue Diamonds. Finished top 10 in the last two-star Grand Prix here as well, and that was their first outing in Wellington this season. Jumped up in Canada and in Traverse City last season. Came from Stephanie Carroll. Guessing into Carroll and the team. And so came together in the middle part of last year. Jumped a number of really good rounds, generally just 4 faults or a clear. Only the most recent with 2 down in a jump off, but was clear in the first round of the two-star Grand Prix here in mid-February. Stepping through nicely there, has kept a good pace on this as well. Should be good for time. Just set up squarely for the last and looking good. 76.10 gives us 2 on the bounce and 2 for Canada, actually back to back. So Nikki Walker and Panther JVH joining Atomica and Kyle Tim to raise the maple leaf into that jump off. Catherine Passmore of the US next interview, and Catherine with the Swedish bred mare Curious Friday by Cardenso. Takes up to a 48th of 75, in fact 47th of 75 in total. Curious Friday also being placed in both this equivalent class and the Grand Prix so far. 6th in the Grand Prix qualifier just a couple of weeks ago at the end of February. That was part of week 5. Finished clear in 4 in the Grand Prix itself. Didn't do much through last year, in fact. Now travelling nicely at the moment, time-wise looking okay. Good efficient turn back here. Just getting a little bit of the revs up to get across the Oxer at 10. That's 155. 11.50 and 8 meters 10 if you're looking at the actual numbers through that triple combination. Nicely stretching out. Should, by the way, the fact they're travelling just be enough to get into the jump off, but only just. 77.85. It's 3 on the bounce. Catherine Passmore gives us the dozen. 12 to the jump off now of this Ethel M Chocolates 2-star Grand Prix qualifier. Catherine Passmore and Curious Friday. Kyle Tim, Nikki Walker, Catherine Passmore, 3 on the bounce. Guilherme Dutra Ferroni and legendary Himon for the Brazilian rider, owned by Ivo Rosa da Silva Filho, that we saw jumping a little bit earlier on. Now Guilherme. Now again, hasn't ridden this horse a lot here. Has actually competed down in Rio and with also Sao Paulo, just taking over the ride from Ivo, the owner. We rode this horse also down there, including into World Cups down in Brazil. Just one of the very few, but just got close and lost the power over the vertical. Flop short across the Lugano Oxer, and now a little bit more revs down this line. But just unfortunately gets a little further forward than they would have wanted down that line and leaves them with a toe on the front rail. Coming home on the 12, going to be a little bit to add for time as well for Guilherme. As I say, not done too many rounds together yet. 12 jumping 3 time, total of 15 there at 80.16 for Guilherme Dutra Ferroni and legendary Imon. David Oberkirch now and Volcano for the US rider for the Southfields farm. German bred stallion by Volcano. Now for David. Volcano already top 10 in the 2-star Grand Prix back in the early part of February here. Had a couple of seasons behind them now, not done a lot of FEI classes. Horse that was produced in Germany. Seen him in many of the bigger classes too with the horse Upper. Kato starting to come to the equation as of last year. A nice roll back. Just a little move up as they eye up the Southern Arches Oxer. Just might run a little bit close to time. Might just be enough, all right, but about 76. But either way, the last is going to drop 77.21, so a little bit closer than we anticipated. It is on a score of 4 there for David Oberkirch and Volcano, leaving him with 1 down. Takes him down to 28th, completes 49th of the order so far. Wesley Newlands and Django Deli now for Wesley. That's the stallion by Landstrom, an 11-year-old now for next to go representing Canada. Also was actually jumped in Spain and with Erin Ballard for a little while. I saw it in Spain as well, that's where I picked up on it. And actually then also very shortly with trainer Cameron Hanley. Just on the 4 at the moment. Time is going to be a little bit of part of this as well, which makes a difference for placings. 2 for time, 4 jumping, 2 times 79.57 takes them down to 38th for Wesley Newlands. And Django De Lee just a little bit closer to the danger zone for those qualifying or not for the Grand Prix on Sunday. Carl Cook now, Caricole de la Roque for Helen Sidney Osby. And Carl on that Pan Am team that came back with medal in qualification from the games in Santiago. That was with this horse, Caricole de la Roque. Now interesting, I mean, he's due to be on the Nations Cup team next week. He's been jumping out in Thermal on home ground over in California. Finished second in the Grand Prix there a few weeks ago, but won the $1 million Grand Prix there back in December. And this should be just a little stretch out and exercise for next week. One would be aiming for. Should be an easy enough walk in the park for this pair. So just more of an exercise for them. Coming home time shouldn't be an issue. They're used to riding at the 5-star level as well. So 76.35, going to jump clear there for Carl Cook and Caricole de la Roque. We'll see whether they jump off or not. It is number 13, however that bodes for them, of the clears so far as part of this Ethel M Chocolates 2-star at the moment. Stephen Moore with Colibel Hero Z for the Irishman, for the Vlock Show stables. He's ridden for quite some time now. Looking good so far, and there it comes, 73.79. And so Stephen Moore of Ireland and Colibel Hero Z gives the 14th clear on the list. We've had a few in a row. Good quality lineup there Delivering on the clears, just having a little look over the wall. Sunsets down below. Maria Gare, France. Normandy Connections, Edona Undine. Frenchman mare by Vigo Sisi.
Lots of wins and top 3 ribbons throughout the course of the 2023 season in Europe and the U.S. for Maria Carr. She's been a top 4 ribbon winner in international classes this season here in Wellington as well. The Danette Lupine is her run.
Now for the French rider who's produced a whole list of good horses with bases in Europe and here in Wellington. Coming on just the 4 at the moment for Marie. Just going to put themselves in a good position, hopefully, with just the 4. It's an efficient 4 from that point of view. 77.95, 34th position for them. So still very much in the danger zone now for the 4 Fulters to make it through to Sunday's Grand Prix. Ashley Vogel now, the US rider with Birdie DeThoe, trains with the Shane Sweetnam team, very much a part of that. Also some joint ownership horses together. Birdie DeThoe was a horse that Shane was riding for a while. Ashley, full winner of the U25 title here. Birdie DeThoe coming on as a combination for her through last year. Jumped some nice rounds in the U25 in the last few weeks. And so home with just enough time in the bank, 77.82, and clear there for Ashley Vogel and Birdie DeThoe to give us the 15th clear. Another member of the Sweetnam team now is Lacey Gilbertson and Lulu, there by Lord Pezzi Jr., 9-year-old for Lacey. Seabrook LLC of Lake Forest, Illinois. Yeah, just been bought out for a couple of classes so far as part of Wellington 2024. She has jumped double clear in both at this stage. Also came from Poland. So just it's produced some nice clears up to now. Staying in that same vein. Just going to be close on the time here, but should just be enough. And that's nicely done as they get square to the last, 75.72. And enough breathing space in there for Lacey Gilbertson and Lulu to keep up their record of the zeros and give us the 16th clear to date. Maria Costa and Casello for the Ravello Farms. For Maria, who trains with the Laura Kraut team. Oh, not so keen on the wall at 2. Jumped nicely around the 2-star Grand Prix the other day for just 2 time faults. Jumps it this time. It's got a good idea of what's going on. Partnership developed through last year through the 2 stars over in Europe. Just a little steady there as well as they clip the black back rail. And really just getting into what's turning into a good round. Just unfortunately, spoke too soon there, unfortunately, just got underneath that. Again, bit of communication. So deciding to raise the hand there, Maria Costa and Casello just not working out today. And so they raise their hand and retire. Stephanie Valdez and Cyber Lady Z for the Canadian rider. Wendy Valdez, the mare by Douglas. Wendy, the owner. That's another partnership that's been together for quite a while now. Winning up its Thunderbird throughout last summer, part of the home base up there too of Tiffany Foster and team. With wins there in the 3-star, down here to Wellington. Just in the money in the last 2-star Grand Prix here as well with Cyber Lady Z. Jump clear and then just had fences down in the jump off. Just a little reach across that golden headed oxer. Just a little tip off of the vertical. Stephanie Valdez finishing with 4 jumping 3 time, 80.45. Total of 7 there. With Cyber Lady Z. Sega and Frida, now established pair. Last year on to Major League jumping as well. Based now in Aiken, has also jumped on Nations Cup before now, over in Europe. Still coming along nicely, just get the balance back here. Little step through the triple combination. Still on the clear, close on time, just needs to keep moving, he'll be okay. No, he won't. Finishes on 1 time, 78.12, and so just misses out of the 1 time there for Grant Sager and Frida. Andrea Torres now and Thor for the Colombian rider. The Zangasai gelding by Tangelo van der Zoeterwoude for our next to go. And Thor, 8-year-old here for Andrea Torres and the Almeida Acres. And so far, as I say, coming up to the clear round tally of 16 at the moment in this class. Younger horse here to take a run at this one with Andrea. Unfortunately, that's exactly what they do there. Take a run at the vertical and have it down. Oh, and they're a long way off there. Now just getting back into the groove. That's much better down that line. Roll back here to the skinny, but unfortunately just doesn't quite have the balance through there. I say a little bit of greenness to come into it as well, but chasing down here, it just needs to prop at these verticals, doesn't at the middle and takes that down. And I think it's just going to say enough. Yep, decided to retire there for Andrea Torres of Colombia and Thor VVZ this time around. Simon McCarthy now. And Gotcha. Gotcha has jumped to a number of 5-star shows through Major League as well. Rockridge Farms, the owners of this mare by Staccato, certainly has got plenty of pace if they're into the jump off as well. Gotcha finishing second spot in the recent 4 stars, up at 150, so has jumped bigger. And Gotcha has got plenty of people on the time over the last few years in big classes. Notably finishing well in Michigan last season as well. Now well-established pair with a number of wins behind them. Jump nice double clear, say, to finish second in the 4-star 150 just a couple of weeks ago. Should cope with this okay, just a little steadying there down that line. Just puts them on to the clear there at 75.13. 17th clear of the list there for Simon McCarthy, and gotcha.
Next rider has had team gold and 2 individual bronze medals at the North American VP Championships in 5 starts for her home zone. The season here in Wellington has been in the top 4 of the under 25 ranks here at the Winter Equestrian Festival. Competing in the team competition recently. Virginia Body rider, 2 more for Virginia Body with El Dorado, this 12-year-old run formula Kelly by El Dorado that position.
Virginia Bonney coming home so far with El Dorado and the gelding by El Dorado. Looking to join the clear list. A few of those coming in quick succession. Oh, just the last fence, and time was just going to be fractionally over there as well. 78.08, 1 time, 4 for jumping for Virginia Bonney, and El Dorado keeps her out of the frame. 61st of 75 to go in total in this first round. Sonke Themen of Germany now. Platinum Capital Management's Greta Garbo. There by Contofino 2. The German rider based here in the US. So Greta Garbo now with Sonke getting some experience this year. Last season, tail end competing in Tryon. Last year their first real season FEI. On the 4 at the moment. Just sitting on the 4, lies on that middle part, clips the last part as well. On a score of 12 at the moment. Just might make the time, but that's going to be pretty irrelevant. 77.59 does just make the time at 78, but total of 12 there for Sonka Damon and Greta Garbo PCM. Just getting some experience there with a 10-year-old out of O Black Cherry. Grace Debney now, and the British rider with the temple equestrian Zorina de Vidal, the mare by Demont de Semy. Already a very good start to the season for the European Young Rider medalist. Won the two-star, in fact, has won two two-star Grand Prix so far. One with Zorina, one with J'Esprit HS. So notched up those 2 wins. Was top 3 in the U25 Grand Prix as well with Zorina. So again, would come in as one of the favourites here. Just turned 20. Horse now 13 years of age. Still coming nicely on the pace so far for Grace Debney and Zorina. Little fraction touch of the triple combination. Good on the clock as long as they keep coming at this rhythm, which they will. And nicely done. Another shot at another class as part of the two-star series this season for the 20-year-old, 76.22. And gives us the 18th clear there for now twice Grand Prix winner this season, Grace Debney and Zorina. Beth Underhill now, My Clementine for the Rain family. The Irish Med mare by OBOS Quality. Goes back to out of Quick Star mare. Beth, who was part of the team at the Pan Am Games to win medals last year. Canadian Olympian bringing on My Clementine, this now 9-year-old. Just gives a little encouragement down that line. There's tons of experience here with to bring this horse on nicely. Just bringing them home, just should be enough to be okay for the clock. Oh, not quite enough. 78.45, but again, I'm sure not too disappointed with that round overall. Beth Underhill nicely round with the clear, but one time. 78.45 for Beth Underhill and My Clementine. Nicola Hurt, Don Perron, the Chatwood Farms of here in Florida. British bred gelding by Denzel van Mullenhof out of Notre Dame the Third. He's already win the season with Florette. Very nicely over the ox there. Nicolette first riding this horse into Europe last year in France. And that's an issue, but I can't quite tell you what it is. She's out of the saddle, but seems to be okay. Unfortunately, walking out, Don Perron and Nicolette Hurt. Philip McGuane now and Pasodoble SCF going superbly as well on Orphea, recently winning the 3-star WEF Challenge Cup back onto week 6. What was that, last week? Gosh, it all flies along. Pasodoble for the Evergate stable team. The mare by Dictator, which is a stallion from the Spy Coast farm. Now with Philip, rider for the Evergate team. It's also a horse that's been ridden by Nael Nassar within the stable. Double clear in the Grand Prix qualifier back in early February for this horse. Had just the full faults in the following Grand Prix. Just got a little strung out down there. Just flattened into that oxer, unfortunately. Coming home on the 4, time won't be an issue. Just unfortunately that one fence down the stretch from 7 to 8 for Philip McGuane this time with Pasodoble SCF. 74.39 as a time. Emma Sargent next, the US rider with Giolita. Dutch bred mare by Ingmar. 13-year-old now for Emma. Leaves around 8 left to go. been mixing things up between the national classes and a few of the 2-stars so far this season. Just tips away the back bar on the Lugano fence. It's a whole connected line. Some on the 8 then for Emma at this point. Just a little touch of the back of the Ethel Oxer there. And last fence goes as well. So total of 12 plus 2 for time, 79.59. Emma Sargent making a few forays into the international classes now. It would be a good experience for them. And leaves them just unfortunately on 14, but completes there on 14 for Emma Sargent. Lady with plenty of experience in FEI classes is Molly Ashcawley now on birdie in. Not only in the United States, but over in Europe as well. And this is the Lewisburg Farms birdie in, the mare by Bustique for Molly. Berdian has put a number of wins together. In fact, she top 5 in the 4 stars here back a few weeks ago. Winner in Lexington, June last season. Several good classes there. One in Socrates, similar class to this as well. Jumped very well in the 5 stars at the Hampton Classic 2 to finish in 2nd spot. Twice World Cup finalist. Just a little jiggle of the pole at the back, but it is one down already for Molly, unfortunately. Someone to score up for 74.51 for there for Molly Ashcawley and Berdian. 18 clears on the list so far for our second round of this Ethel Chocolates 2-star Grand Prix qualifier this afternoon. Veronica Tracy, the Coleridge Equestrians, Kilossery Caden. And you'll know her name as the owner of several of those very good horses too, with Richard Vogel of Germany. Actually, she was riding FBW Graphic, which was with her before going on to Vanessa Hood recently. Also Veronica competing down on the Mexican tour through the fall. Monterrey, San Miguel de Allende. Coming home on a good round for Veronica. Another very good round from Veronica. It is going to be nicely inside the time of 74.40, and it is there clear for Veronica Tracy and Colossary Caden to take us to our 19th clear on the list. Diego Bedoya Yanez and Scaraglen's Parabellum for the Bolivian rider that goes next. The Dutchman gelding by Singing Lord Yoda for the NRG farm. On a good round so far on the grey. Scaraglen's Parabellum, well experienced now, 13-year-old, several riders up to this point as well. Should cope with this, but just might be a little close on time. He's not going to make the time. It's going to be one time there for them, unfortunately, and drops them on to, in fact, two time at 79.30 for Diego. Actually, it was the horse he rode at the Pan Am Games last year for Bolivia. And this is their first outing since then. Jumps around nicely though, but just with time on the clock for Scaraglen's Parabellum this time around. Just around 5 left to go in the first round. Be at Manley, Grand Road Partners, Chartrain Pinoir, the French bred mare by Cannon. 12-year-old, in fact, for Bayet, riding for the Grant Road Partners of New York. First time out for this year for this horse into the FEI classes. Won a class at Washington. Just nicely and balanced down the line there for Bayet. Just coming home on the 4. Just leaving them on the 4 at 75.17, 30th position for Biat Manley and Chartrain Pinoir. Only 4 to follow, so we put them top 35. Charlotte Jacobs now for the North Star team. Playboy JTZ. And the 9-year-old gelding by Presley Boy. Charlotte, who was going well last year as well here. The group of horses and the Jacobs family, very much supportive of developing new young horses here in the United States as well. Brought some over, looking to breed as well. Playboy, having jumped up in Sarasota in preparation for here, was actually ridden with Rhys Williams of Ireland until very recently, through the young horse classes, including in Dublin last year. Just on the 4 at the moment. Presley Boy was so successful with the rider from Saudi, but just on the 8 this time. To say one of their first appearance, well, their first appearance here in Wellington in the 2-star classes. Jumped round for a clear and 4 just the other day in Sarasota. He's on to Karen Pulley and Jet Run. Presley Boy, just to fill in the gaps there, was with Khalid Ali of Saudi Arabia and Jaime Azcárraga of Mexico before that. Won a number of big Grand Prix. Actually was second at the Global Tour in Abu Dhabi. I was there for that one. Going back when that was the final. Karen Pulley, Jet Run, unfortunately underneath that first fence, cost them the Mars Equestrian opener. Karen, going back to 2015, winner of the Hampton Classic Grand Prix with Wings, rode through to the World Championships. Again, for them, it's about getting back into the groove of these big classes. Certainly has the ability. Winner of classes here this time. Previously, just started coming back into the game of the FEI classes tail end of last year, including in Greenwich. And after just that first fence, now settling in easily enough. Nice stretch out over the Ethel Chocolates fence. Looking good. Other than the first fence, 73.69. It is 1 down on the 4 there for Karen Pulley and Jet Run. Unfortunately, just caught out by the first. Conor Regan now, who's still high up the order on the MS 150 series so far this season. Conor Regan and the Delshaw horses, Big Boy Z gelding by Big Star Junior. Conor had this horse for a few seasons now, sparingly competed through the FEI ranks. Jumped clear in the 4-star here back in December. Just on the 4 so far now for Connor. Again, vying for places into that Grand Prix here on Sunday. Time is going to run out on them, unfortunately, as well, and so is the last fence. Just leans back onto that. It's 4 jumping 3 time, finishing on 7 at 80.22 for Conor Reagan and Big Boy Z. Final combination in round 1 is Andrew Wells. Andrew with the now 10-year-old Dorchester by Karamba de Muse.
Friday Grand Prix qualifier. At this point, we'll try to give us a round number of 20 if she's qualified for that second round. 19 standing by right now. After this, we'll adjust on that jump off. This is for Dorchester, the 10-year-old over there by Canada, the Muse, owned by Andrew Wells, LLC.
Look at the 19 clears with just this 1 left to run. Dorchester placed in the 2 stars already so far this season. Just on the 4 faults in the last 2-star Grand Prix together. Oh, and it just gets underneath that Oxter. Just going to leave them on the 4, 76.22. 1 down for Andrew Wells this time with Dorchester, and completes the first round of this Ethel M Chocolates $32,000 2-star Grand Prix qualifier. 19 qualifying to return for the jump off. That'll be getting underway very shortly, and then, as I say, it is also the top group from there qualifying for the Grand Prix here later on this week. 4 faults still into the top 45 there. Well, a couple that aren't, and Nick de la Joyo, Maria Carr, 46, 47th on the list as it stands, and upwards of their long string of those on the 4 faults, and clears 19 of those in total, some of them on time. Grant Sager 1 time, Elena Haas 1 time, Beth Underhill 1 time, Alex Granato 1 time, 2 for Diego Bodoyaneth, Catherine Tyree Flores also on 2, and Juan Ortiz also on 2. That completes the top 25. To the jump off in just a few minutes' time, and we'll build up to that.
Jumper make you a show jumping expert? With Jumper, explore the latest event results, discover top horses and riders, and follow your favorites. Jumper delivers data from around the world, so you're always the most informed. Download now and take the guesswork out of show jumping with Jumper.
Welcome to Carlswood, the home of Irish Olympic medalist, coach and international horse producer, Cian O'Connor. At Carlswood, we pride ourselves on the belief that success is reward for effort. Set in County Meath, Carlswood is the home of Cian's industry-leading high-performance centre. The Carlswood system is based on a structured approach to daily routine and meticulous planning to help reach our goals. At Carlswood, Cian and the team work together to provide coaching, mentoring, advice on horse purchases and goal setting. We also facilitate students who wish to progress their show jumping skills while they study in universities in Ireland and across Europe. When it comes to developing your horse's fitness, scheduling and planning around competitions, no stone is left unturned. At Carlswood, we are committed to delivering quality, a place where our goal is the fulfilment of your ambition.
Girls like this.
Can Jumper help you find your next top horse? Well, let's say you're looking for an 8-year-old, competing at meter 40, jumping clear 60% of the time. Jumper lets you find top horses by age, pedigree, or performance. Download now and take the guesswork out of show jumping with Jumper.
Be a part of show jumping history when the Show Jumping Hall of Fame hosts many of the sport's living legends at its annual induction gala. The gala takes place on Sunday evening, March 3rd at the Wanderers Club in Wellington. This year's inductees are Pancho Lopez, Katie Prudence, longtime barn manager, and Laura Kraut's gold medal Olympic mount Cedric. Also on hand to receive the Show Jumping Hall of Fame's second annual International Award will be former Olympic, World, and World Cup champion Rodrigo Pessoa of Brazil. Don't miss this very special evening when the Show Jumping Hall of Fame honors the history of our sport and those who have helped make it great. It's Sunday evening, March 3rd at the Wanderers Club in Wellington. Order your tickets today at showjumpinghalloffame.net.
Well, set to go into the jump off of this Ethel Chocolates 2-star Grand Prix qualifier here this afternoon. Short course fences 1, 2, 3A and B, 15, new vertical across the centre, and then to 11C after that, 12 and 13 to complete, completing on what was the last fence in the first round. So same tangerine finish. So Sophie Mayer to start us off, Sentimiento LS La Cia. Sophie the first of 19 to run. This goes on the wind-up. So 1, turn back to 2 here to the wall. Looks like it was 8 strides down to the double there. Lands out of there well. Coming up to the Fidelity fence now across the centre, and oh, it comes up quick. Just now a nice roll back to it, just to get them nicely over it. Yeah. So unfortunately that's going to put them on 8. Good start there for them. Now for the Ethel M2, this same final fence to complete. It's going to be 8 jumping plus time there. 6 for time, 55.23. Unfortunately just caught out at the vertical there for Sophie Mayer. Sentimiento LS La Cia. Plus it's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Soph. Good clear in the first round. Look forward to seeing them in the Grand Prix later on this week. Vasco Flores, Denapo. So a couple of these, it looks like electing not to jump off. Two of those, Carl Cook, which is sort of expected, and Peter Lutz, Catriona, electing not to jump off. Now get set up for this vertical. Again, just not quite perfect as they'd have liked it. Huge jumpers though. Gonna give them a clean round to start off this jump off. 38.06 as they will put them in the lead of the group so far. Well, Gallego now and Niagara. Fourth of those qualifying for the jump off here for the Colombian. So Vasco Flores, best of just about 2 gone so far. Jumps clear at 38.06. So we'll see what a gauge that is of possibly not a winning round. We'll see. There's just room in there. Lands out of there in 13. Vasco is more like 15 out of that double. Across to the Fidelity. Coming home. 38.06 to beat. Going to do that easily enough. 36.70, Juan Manuel Gallego and Niagara will fall into the leading spot now. So it gets ahead of Vasco Flores. Like I said, I thought there was some breathing space in there. 38.06 from Vasco, 36.70 from Juan Manuel. A good experience pairing into this situation now is Thomas Joffre of Argentina, still in Sport Horses Cadora. For the previous Traverse City Grand Prix winning combination. Not too far away as well. Landau there in around 11 seconds, coming across here to land in 17. Gets a good move across to the next. 36.70 to beat. If he takes a run at this, he's got a good chance. Little steadying there, might not be enough. We'll see. 36.67, it is just squeaking enough. 36.70 was the leading time. Thomas Joffre takes 0.03 of a second off it. 36.67 for Tommy Teo lead the way for Argentina, with Cadora as the lead changes hands again in the relay. Richard Maloney next of Ireland, Equanimity LLC's Sherlock, 46. 11-year-old mare by Stolzenberg. Good start from Richie. Shakes the reins. Don't drift too far here. Keeps momentum around the island. Over the Ethel M fence and looking good. 36.67 to beat. Should have that. He's unfortunately had it though. The last fence 33.81. He had the time, which is what I was referring to. 33.81. He had it by nearly 3 seconds for Richie. And Sherlock, well, had all the clues, but just didn't quite solve the problem, I'm afraid. Just the last fence causes them an issue and drops them into 4th place, but shows that Thomas Joffre's time is beatable with Cadora. Laura Chapeau, Shandon Blue, lead little describing how these pair could go very fast here yet. 19-year-old horse, still full of fire. Maybe just a fraction behind the time at the moment, we'll see, but they've got a good run coming up here where they may be able to make some up as well if they want to have a real shot at this. Takes a long run at the vertical now. It's the time to get things back for Laura. 1 to go. 36.67 to beat. Not quite going to be there, I don't think. 36.94. No, not quite. Goes into 3rd place from that point of view. Laura Chapeau into 3rd. 36.67 remains the leading time with Thomas Joffre and Cadora. Juan Manuel Gallego in 2nd on 36.70. Julie Wells now for the Swambo partners. My Boy Bill. Good turn back. Good confident shot into the double. Ugh. Just flattened the tiniest of fractions there to have the fidelity down. .34.59. Time was going to be good enough as well. Finishing on the 4 there for Julie Wells and my boy Bill. As we get about halfway through the order of this jump-off lineup, but has the 4 faults as well. So still Thomas Joffre stays ahead on 36.67. It's going to have to work hard to stay there because they're getting closer and closer. Heather Caristo-Williams now. Holly and Ralph Caristo's Celtic Hero BZ. Or reach. Now Heather getting the engine going. Just keep the control down here at the vertical. Now she's got to keep it tight around here. That's efficient round the islands. Take a long shot at it. 36.67. Keep coming, don't get underneath it. Got there, and it should be there in time at 34.33. Heather Caristo-Williams and Celtic Hero BZ come across as the most recent leaders of this Ethel M Chocolates sponsored class this afternoon. 34.33. We knew it was there on the cards. And, well, there we go, in front. Richie Maloney was around in 33.81, so there's still some potential breathing space in there, but they have had fences down. You can argue it's a lot shorter around the course if you don't jump all the fences. Kyle Tim of Canada. Couple coming up for Canada now. This is the Rain family's Atomica de Sequoia Z. The mare by Arezzo VDL for Kyle. Rain family supporting another of the Canadian riders for their home country. Again, a couple of these in here, as I say, I'm not sure how much they're really going to chase for this. Leave a little bit of a shot for the Grand Prix later on in the week, and again, some a little bit less experienced as a partnership to chase. This is looking a very nice round so far from Kyle. He was in Spain, I think, before heading here to Wellington. Nice shot there. This stays up and then they're in for another good round. Just going to be top 4-5. Goes into 5th place there at 38 seconds for Kyle Tim and Atomica de Sequoia Z. Certainly can't be unhappy with that. Nice tidy round for a double clear for the Canadian. Nikki Walker next, Panther JVH for the next of the Canadian riders. Nikki with this 9-year-old stallion by Le Blue Diamonds. And so we'll see how much they're going to push for this. Nice tidy turn back to the wall. So much is about finding effective efficiency, not just racing against the clock. Tidy over the fidelity again, just makes a little move to the right, creates space down here to get back to this vertical. And she keeps it nicely squeezed up to the island. Trying to beat 34.33, not going to do that, but it's a very nice round. Put behind them as she gets square to the final fence. Goes into 3rd, 36.69. for a 0-0 score again for Nikki Walker, and this time with Panther JVH for Canada. Heather Christo-Williams leading with Celtic Hero BZ at 34-33. Thomas Joffre of Argentina in second.
Catherine Passmore challenging next. She's here with Curious Friday, number 4710.
Catherine Passmore, Curious Friday.
Thanks again to our sponsors.
The Swedish bred mare by Cardenso.
Our iconic brands in the equestrian community, more specifically Ethel chocolates, and bringing us the entirety of our two-star division throughout our week 7 events.
Little tremble of the first. A little bit wider there. Nikki Walker was really efficient back to the wall. Now this is where they can go. Gives them room here to chase that vertical. Takes this a little on the angle as well. Looks like they got 7 down to the last, and not going to be far away again. Goes into second, 35.92. Second spot for Catherine Passmore and Curious Friday. Heather Christo-Williams leading on 34.33. Thomas Joffre in third with Cadora. Stephen Moore, Colibal Hero Z.
Charles was choosing to withdraw from the jump-off round with Kiriko de la Roche, so we'll see him over the weekend.
Just around, I think it's 6 left. And now for the Vlok Show stables.
Entry number 1719.
Now this mare by Comme il faut. Comme il faut had plenty of speed with Marcus Enning. Goes back to the bloodlines of the great Retina. Ooh, just a fraction hesitant to that wall. Just looking to get this a bit on the angle as well and get back as soon as they can. They can't get completely around that island. It would leave them in a difficult spot to get to that Oxer. Still, it's not going to be far away as well. 34.33 leading time, square up to the last. 35.96 is another one into the top 3. Moves down Thomas Joffre and Cadora now into 4th place at 36.67. Stephen Moore into 3rd. Catherine Passmore 2nd. Heather Christo-Williams still leading with Celtic Hero BZ. Ashley Vogel, her own Birdie de Thau, the French-bred mare by Magic Del. For the rider who's come through her youth career from in the Sweetenham stable. Good start. This is looking good. 34.33 to beat. 35.40. Last fence goes as well, and she gave it a very good try. And so unfortunately Ashley Vogel drops out on the 8 faults, 35.40. Time was good, but dropped a couple of fences on the way for Ashley and Birdie de Thau. Lacey Gilbertson. Lulu, like I said a little bit earlier, has just jumped clear after clear so far. I haven't jumped too many competitions together, but they've been very effective in those they have. Nine-year-old mare by Lord Pezzi Jr. Nice turn back. Keeps up the movement. Keeps the speed going. Lands well here. Just maybe goes a fraction wider there, but she is moving. Ground speed is good. It's one of their first real tests into these classes now. 34.33 to beat. She's got a very good chance if she leaves this up, and it's going to be 34.06. Lacey Gilbertson, Lulu, keeps up the consistency to now go into the lead, 34.06, and now pushes Heather Christo-Williams into second place at 34.33. Catherine Passmore in third at 35.92.
So we got a brand new target on the board. Sally McCarthy and Gotcha will challenge back.
Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. This pair do have a fast pace in a jump-off. They can really run. They've got the confidence to run. See what he does in this ranking class. $32,000 Ethel M Chocolates 2-star Grand Prix qualifier. This is travelling. Lead might be short-lived. That was good. He was right up to the bushes there. Just hesitated a fraction, though, as they go. 34.06 to beat. He should have this. Comes on the angle to the last at 33.31. Simon McCarthy, so slick and efficient around there. Not unexpected from them. We've seen it many times if you followed Simon's rides. And Gotcha grabs the lead at this point of the Ethel M Chocolates 2-star Grand Prix qualifier. Now leads this ranking class. Just leaves a couple left to go. Grace Debney and Veronica Tracy to complete the 19 in the jump-off here this afternoon.
Quicker is the new leader now. Grace Debney of Great Britain is just about to join us to go after that top spot. She'll be here to tell equestrian entry. That'll be Zelina Vidal. Trying to catch up to 33.31.
Grace Debney. Could. We'll see.
As that rider is making their way out to the gate here with anything Ethel M Chocolates. 4 years ago, Forrest Marsh Sr. landed on the 11.
So McCarthy. Number 1 spot, Lacey Gilbertson second. That was short-lived, I'm afraid, at 34.06 in second. Heather Christo-Williams now in third. Grace Debney and Serena de Vidal, her Grand Prix winner from just a couple of weeks ago. For the young British rider. Lived most of her life here in the US. Good shot at 2. Tidy so far. Simon was really running though after. Oof, and it stayed. Take your luck when it comes. Now, Simon was so efficient around here. She's gone wide. It was very hard to stay up with the way Simon came around that lighthouse. 33.31, she's not going to catch him. It's going to be very hard to catch him indeed, but she did a really nice round put together at 35.10. Just finishing on the 4 for Grace Debney and Serena de Vidal. Quite see where the 4 came, but obviously she looked across as well and saw the 4 on the scoreboard. Just squeeze things back. Final combination, Veronica Tracy and the Coleridge Equestrians, Colossary Caden. Irish Irish bred horse on the dam side going back to cruising. Out of Colossary Cruzette. Colossary Caden by Luck Z. Two that haven't had the same experience as Simon and Gotcha together, giving this a very good run though. Don't think they're going to be catching Simon's time, but it is going to be a good round if they pull this off. Nice shot at the vertical. Efficient round there. Just keeping rolling now. 33.31 to beat. He's not going to be far away at all. Just gets the nose across the line at 35.13. Goes into fourth place there for Veronica Tracy and Colossary Caden. I mean, Simon McCarthy's the winner of the Ethel M Chocolates 2-star Grand Prix qualifier of our ranking class this afternoon. Lacey Gilbertson second with Lulu. Third to Heather Christo Williams on 34.33. She finishes in third. Fourth to Veronica Tracy, Colossary Caden there, our final runner. Catherine Passmore finishes in fifth. Stephen Moore of Ireland, top five with the Vlock Show Stables, Collibel Hero Z. And seventh place to Thomas Joffre and Cadora, while eighth place is Nikki Walker, Panther JVH. That's the lineup there for that class. Presentation on its way. Well done, Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. They've got the rest of the field, and they are besting them at 33.31 to win here this afternoon. We're back tomorrow, of course, with the Grand Prix. Reminder is going to be the 5-star Grand Prix tomorrow, and also the pre-Grand Prix show getting underway from 6 tomorrow as well.
Representatives and sportsbook with us here to capture the win shot of our top three contestants in front of the Ethel M Chocolates. Jump was a part of our short course here, the second class fence on their way to the finish line here in the jump off. Once again, we have Ethel Mars on board. And today, the
Prize money, of course. $32,000 offered up here in the Grand Prix qualifier, but as the title indicates, there's also the valuable qualifying spots for the Sunday Grand Prix feature. So all of the top 45 will make it into that. And based on the performance we've seen so far this week from Heather Caristo Williams, who took the opening day win in the 2-star ranks, today finishing third, she'll certainly be one to watch when we get into our final day of the week. Heather coming to us here with Celtic Hero BZ, again finishing in third place with a time of 34.33, and she'll make her way in with the yellow ribbon to accept that prize. Picking up the red ribbon in second place is Lulu MPSC, and that's the Lacey Gilbertson ride, finishing second in 34.06. Lacey aboard Lulu MPSC for Seabrook LLC, and the victory is taken by Simon McCarthy, rider for Ireland, up on Rockridge Farms entry, Gotcha. Winning time there, 33:31, gives Gotcha and Simon McCarthy the blue ribbon honor and the winner's share of our $32,000 in prize money. And of course, along with Lacey Gilbertson and Heather Caristo-Williams, our top 3 contestants. We'll keep an eye on them going into the weekend and the feature on Sunday. But for right now, we'll send them off for a round of honor as we congratulate them on the top 3 finishes out of 76 starters here on Friday afternoon. Winner making his turn back toward home there again, Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. And as we congratulate Simon and Gotcha on the victory here in 33:31, again a salute as well to runner-up Lacey Gilbertson and Lulu MPSZ in 34.06, Heather Caristo and Celtic Hero BZ in 34:33, rounding out those podium spots. Also, Veronica Tracy rode Colossary Caden to 4th, Catherine Passmore and Curious Friday to 5th. It was Stephen Moore and Colabel Hero Z finishing 6th. Thomas Jeffries Cardora was 7th, Nicole Walker and Panther JVH in 8th place. Juan Manuel Gallego and Niagara Dive Z for 9th. Laura Chapeau showed Shandon Blue to 10th with Kyle Tim and Atomica de Sequoias Z 11th. Vasco Flores and Dinapo rounding out our top 12 here in this 2-star Grand Prix qualifier. Thanks again to Ethel M Chocolates for the sponsorship and to Pamela Mars for representing the Mars family as we move along into preparation for Day 4, Week 7 here at the Winter Equestrian Festival, and we will get back underway here in our Saturday performance with an 8 o'clock start. We look forward to seeing you then. Thank you very much for being with us here today, and have a great night here in Wellington.